Hello aspirants, welcome to GDC English classes and Tejas test series. So this is free accessible to all of you who are preparing for pharmacist exam, that is Tejas test series. So in this test series, so on each subject, on each topic, you will get MCQs with explanation. So for that, subscribe to GDC English classes YouTube channel on which you are watching now this video. So, and for live classes, you can contact us on given number in the GDC platform, and you can enroll in our course also. Because the upcoming there are many notification already. RRB central government pharmacist exam is there, and upcoming central government health scheme pharmacist exam will be there, and upcoming drug inspector vacancy also 100% there is a chance. So come and join with us GDC, and GDCs always help to students to achieve their goals, because our classes are our strength, and our quality materials also definitely help you to crack your competitive goals. Okay, so in this session we will discuss MCQs with explanation, the drugs acting on the respiratory system. Drugs acting on respiratory system. So here the first question, choose the choose the correct mechanism of action of theophylline in lungs. Choose the correct mechanism of action of theophylline in lungs, nothing but bronchial. So theophylline, a xanthine alkylate purine derivative, naturally derived from the plant source. So first option, inhibition of phosphodiesterase enzyme, agonism of beta 2 receptors, anticholinergic action, inhibition of mucociliary clearance. So here theophylline xanthine alkylates inhibit the phosphodiesterase enzymes in the lungs. By inhibition of phosphodiesterase enzyme, increase in cyclic AMP, cyclic adenosine monophosphate. That increased cyclic adenosine monophosphate causes relaxation of bronchial smooth muscle and helps in treatment of asthma. Yes, the answer will be the phosphodiesterase enzyme 4 inhibition. So there are many types of, around 10 types of phosphodiesterase isoenzymes present in the body. The lung contains phosphodiesterase enzyme type 4 isoenzyme. So theophylline is one of the naturally occurring methylated xanthine alkylate. So theophylline is a methylated xanthine, and theophylline causes convulsions and arrhythmias on high doses. So theophylline on the lungs, bronchial muscle relaxation. Theophylline on the CNS excitation. Theophylline on the CVS heart contraction. So inhibition of phosphodiesterase enzyme by theophylline increase cyclic AMP, cyclic adenosine monophosphate. The cyclic adenosine monophosphate in the CNS excitation, on the heart contraction of cardiac muscle, on the smooth muscle like bronchial smooth muscle relaxation. And theophylline is a inhibitor of phosphodiesterase enzyme 4 in the lungs and helps in the treatment of asthma. Theophylline can be used in COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, also asthma, and apnea in premature infants. What is apnea? A sudden cessation, a sudden abnormality in the breathing. And regarding mechanism, theophylline and aminophylline is a derivative of theophylline, inhibit phosphodiesterase enzyme and increases cyclic adenosine monophosphate, one of the secondary messenger in the body. So because of that, bronchodilation, inhibit the release of histamine from the mast cells, improve the mucociliary clearance in the respiratory passages. Next, the next question is, in bronchial asthma, the mechanism of action of corticosteroids. So corticosteroids, nothing but glucocorticoids, comes under the category of glucocorticoids, and especially here the synthetic corticosteroids helps in the treatment of asthma, especially severe inflammatory asthma. Corticosteroids having immunosuppressant action, as well as they having potent inflammatory anti-inflammatory action. So regarding corticosteroids in asthma works by option A, relax airway smooth muscle, inhibit mast cell degranulation, inhibit adenosine receptor, inhibit lymphocytic eosinophilia, as well as mucosal inflammation. So especially they inhibit the lymphocyte action, T cells function, as well as decrease the inflammation. that is corticosteroids. Corticosteroids are the main therapy in the severe inflammatory asthma. The answer is D. So let's see here. So these are the corticosteroids. These drugs acts by binding to the nuclear receptors. So glucocorticoids are not bronchodilators. They does not cause relaxation of bronchial smooth muscle, and they benefit in asthma. They produce benefits in asthma, inhibiting inflammatory cytokine production, eosinophil production, and lymphocytic infiltration of lungs. So infiltration means excess infiltration, excess accumulation of lymphocytes in lungs. So simply, so this is GRE. So this glucocorticoid receptors enzymes undergoes the reaction, and ultimately there is a reduced inflammatory mediators. So simple, so leave that. Simply it decrease the inflammation as well as and also suppress the excess active immune system, overactive immune system. Okay, next question. Which of the following drug is fastest acting? Which of the following drug is the fastest acting inhaled bronchodilator? Salmeterol option D, salbutamol option C, formoterol, ipratropium. So ipratropium bromide blocks the muscarinic receptors. Okay, but here answer will be the fastest acting inhaled bronchodilator. The answer is the salbutamol. So let's see. So, salbutamol, a highly selective beta 2 receptor agonist. Cardiac side effects are less. Inhaled salbutamol delivered mostly from the pressurized meter dose inhaler. Produces bronchodilation within 5 minutes and action around 2 to 4 hours. Once it starts action, the action will be up to 2 to 4 hours. Next, formoterol, another long-acting selective beta-2 agonist which acts for 12 hours after inhalation. Next, salmeterol. It is the first long-acting selective beta-2 agonist with the slowest action, used by inhalation twice daily, scheduled for maintenance therapy as well as nocturnal asthma but not for acute symptoms. Next, ipratropium bromide, a short-acting duration of 4 to 6 hours, inhaled anticholinergic bronchodilator by blocking M3 type 3 muscarinic receptors. And while tiotropium, the consinir, the derivatives of the friend of ipratropium, having duration of 24 hours. Next, which of the following is antihistamine used in treatment of cough? Which of the following antihistamine used in treatment of cough? So glycerin is not an antihistamine, promethazine is antihistamine, codeine phosphate a opioid derivative, and salbutamol a anti-asthmatic selective beta 2 receptor agonist. So here promethazine is the first generation antihistamine with sedation property, also used in treatment of cough. Yes, here this is the classification of drugs for treatment of cough. Drug for treatment of cough like pharyngeal demulcents, expectorants, expel, expel out the excess mucus, and adjuvant antitussives like bronchodilator, salbutamol, terbutaline, decrease bronchial mucus secretion. Antitussive directly acts on the cough center in brain, and mucolytics. So mucolytics like bromhexin, ambroxol, acetylcysteine, carbocystine. So these are the mucolytics. So these drugs break down the thick mucus and free from the nothing but free the lungs from the secretions. And the secretion enhancer. So these drugs enhance the mucus secretions outside of the airways. And opioids like codeine, non-opioids, noscapine, and antihistamines, pulmonary receptors desensitizer, prenoxidazine. Prenoxidazine is a pulmonary receptor desensitizer, and all this category of drugs in the treatment of cough. And which of the following is a mast cell stabilizer? So which of the following category of drug is stabilize the mast cells and inhibit the release of excess histamine. Prednisolone, a corticosteroid. Beclomethasone, also a synthetic corticosteroid. Ketotifen, Jafirlukast. So Jafirlukast, Montelukast are cysteine leukotriene receptor antagonist, and answer is the ketotifen. Ketotifen is a mast cell stabilizer among the following drugs. So this is the classification of anti-asthmatic drugs. Classification of anti-asthmatic drugs. Bronchodilators dilate the bronchial smooth muscle directly by agonizing beta 2 receptors in the lungs like ephedrine, salbutamol, terbinafine, bambiterol, salmeterol, formoterol, and methylxanthines like theophylline, aminophylline, doxophylline, choline, like anticholinergics, ipratropium, tiotropium. So anticholinergics, they block type 3 muscarinic receptors in lungs, causes dilation of bronchial smooth muscle. Methylxanthines by increased cyclic AMP levels inhibit the phosphodiesterase enzyme, leads to increased cyclic adenosine monophosphate. The cyclic adenosine monophosphate causes dilation. And beta 2 receptor agonist, they acts on the beta 2 receptors of sympathetic nervous system and causes dilation of bronchial smooth muscle. Next, leukotriene receptor antagonist. So excess activation of leukotrienes may increase the inflammatory asthma. Drugs like Montulukast, Jafirlukast, CAST. These are cysteine leukotriene receptor antagonist. And mast cell stabilizers. Drugs like sodium chromoglycate, ketotifen. These are the two examples of drugs. They stabilize the mast cells. Next, corticosteroids. Synthetic inhalational, hydrocortisone, prednisolone. These are the systemic, enter into the blood, given through the blood. And inhalational like beclomethasone, budesonide, fluticasone, funisolide. And anti-IgE antibody, anti-IgE antibody. So IgE, one of the antibody involves in the allergic reactions. So excess allergic reactions may also lead to the asthma. So to control allergic induced asthma, anti-IgE antibody, monoclonal antibody, omalizumab is useful. As you know, the allergic reactions induced by IgE antibody. Next. So the next question, which of the following drug acts as a mucolytic? So which of the following drug acts as a mucolytic? Break down the thick mucus and make that thick into the thin mucus and eliminate from the body, make air passages free. Like codeine phosphate, chlorpheniramine, salbutamol, carbocysteine. So codeine is opioid derivative. Suppress the cough center. Chlorpheniramine, a antihistamine H1 receptor blocker. Salbutamol, a beta 2 receptor agonist. And carbocysteine is a drug. Acts as a mucolytic. Acts as a mucolytic. So again coming to the same classification. So this classification you can get in the number of slides in this video. So when you want to write, so pause the video and write down the classification in detail. Yes, mucolytics. Example like bromhexine, ambroxol, acetylcysteine, carbocysteine. These drugs break down the thick mucus by break down disulfide bonds in that mucus. Disulfide bonds in that mucus. Next. The next question is leukotriene receptor antagonist for bronchial asthma. So which of the following drug is acts as a leukotriene receptor antagonist for treatment of bronchial asthma? Jafirlukast, Giluton, cromolyn sodium, aminophylline. So Giluton is a 5-lipoxygenase enzyme inhibitor. Okay, and aminophylline is a thiophylline derivative, xanthan alkaloids, cromolyn sodium. These are mast cell stabilizers. And Jafirlukast, Montulukast. Jafirlukast, Montulukast are leukotriene receptor antagonist, especially cysteine leukotriene receptor antagonist. Answer is Jafirlukast. Again, so both Montulukast, Jafirlukast are leukotriene receptor antagonist. Next, which enzyme inhibited by the aminophylline? Aminophylline is a derivative of theophylline, a natural xanthan alkaloids. All xanthan alkaloids, nothing but purine alkaloids, inhibit the phosphodiesterase enzyme in the lungs and increase the cyclic AMP. Increased cyclic adenosine monophosphate on the lungs causes bronchial smooth muscle relaxation, helps in the treatment of asthma. So answer is the phosphodiesterase. Monoamine oxidase enzyme involves in metabolism of catecholamines, monoamines like adrenaline, noradrenaline, dopamine, serotonin, and alcohol dehydrogenase. So alcohol dehydrogenase enzyme involves in the ethanol metabolism. And CYP450 enzyme are many number of enzymes in the liver. They involves in the drug metabolism, drug biotransformation, drug inactivation. Yes, coming to the explanation of this question, aminophylline is the ethylene diamine salt of theophylline. So ethylene diamine salt of theophylline, aminophylline. Theophylline competitively inhibits type 3 as well as type 4 phosphodiesterase enzyme, which responsible for breakdown of cyclic AMP in smooth muscle, possibly result bronchodilation. Phosphodiesterase enzyme Phosphodiesterase enzyme involves in the breakdown of cyclic AMP. But if phosphodiesterase enzyme was inhibited, then no breakdown of cyclic AMP, increased cyclic AMP in the lungs, bronchial smooth muscle relaxation. So after ingestion of this drug, theophylline is released from the aminophylline. So aminophylline converts to active form theophylline, and theophylline relaxes the smooth muscle of bronchial airways, pulmonary blood vessels, reduce airway response to histamine, methacholine, adenosine, and allergen, decreases allergic induced asthma. Next, which of the following is the drug of choice in treatment of productive cough? So productive cough is wet cough, non-productive cough is dry cough. So drugs like dextromethorphan, bromhexin, falcodin, noscapine. So which of the following is drug of choice in treatment of productive cough? Nothing but wet cough. The secretions will come out. The answer will be the bromhexin. Bromhexin is the drug of choice in the treatment of productive cough among the list of drugs. The explanation: mucolytics such as bromhexin, acetylcysteine break down thick, sticky chest phlegm, nothing but mucus, a thick substance, making it easier to cough outside of the body. So cough is generally two types: dry cough without any secretions. So here antidepressants like codeine, falcodin, noscapine, dextromethorphan, these drugs are for treatment of dry cough. When coming to the productive cough, wet cough, the used are potassium iodide, bromhexin, ambroxol are used as a expectorants. They expel the wet content to the outside of the body. So all are inhalational steroids except all are inhalational except. So all this list of drugs are taken by inhalation route of for treatment of asthma. But exception, yes, flunisolide, beclomethasone, budesonide, all this comes under the steroid category. But sodium chromoglycate, a mast cell stabilizer, it is not an inhalational steroid. It is not an inhalational steroid. Simple logic: steroid, sodium chromoglycate is not steroid, but flunisolide, beclomethasone, budesonide, these are synthetic derivatives from the glucocorticoids, corticosteroids. Again, the same classification, but the question is different. So steroids, where are the steroids? Systemic steroids into the blood by injection, hydrocortisone, prednisolone. Inhalational by through the nasal, beclomethasone, budesonide, flunisolide, fluticasone. Hydrocortisone, prednisolone directly into the blood, systemic. But inhalational, beclomethasone, budesonide, fluticasone, fluinoside. These are semi-synthetic derivatives of corticosteroids. Next, so this is little bit tricky question and interesting question. Let's see the question. All of the following combinations of drug and their mechanism of action is correct except all of the following combination of drug with their mechanism of action correct except salbutamol. Stimulation of beta 2 receptors causes bronchodilation. Yes, salbutamol is a selective beta 2 receptor agonist, and agonism of beta 2 receptor increases cyclic AMP, cyclic adenosine monophosphate, and that leads to causes bronchial dilation, relaxation of bronchial smooth muscle. Sodium chromoglycate, a mast cell stabilizer. Jafirlukast, leukotriene inhibitor. Jafirlukast, montelukast, leukotriene modulator. Theophylline, a non-selective beta 2 receptor stimulation causing bronchodilation. So theophylline is a drug, xanthan alkaloid, natural alkaloid. First, it inhibits phosphodiesterase enzyme. By inhibition of phosphodiesterase enzyme, by inhibition of phosphodiesterase enzyme, increasing cyclic AMP. That increased cyclic AMP causes relaxation of bronchial smooth muscle. So all of the following drugs along with their mechanisms are true, correct, except the answer is the D, because theophylline is a not directly acts on beta 2. First it have to inhibit the phosphodiesterase enzyme. So let's see the mechanism. You already know that and we already discussed. Let's see. Theophylline relaxes the smooth muscles located in the bronchial airways and pulmonary blood vessels. Also reduce airway response to the histamine, adenosine, methacholine, allergens. So decrease the response to allergic substance like histamine. Next. Wait a minute. Next. Select the drug that is neither bronchodilator nor anti-inflammatory but has antihistaminic and can stabilize the mast cells. So which are the following anti-asthmatic drug? Not a bronchodilator, not cause dilation of bronchial smooth muscle, does not decrease inflammation, but has antihistamine, can block the histamine action, can stabilize the mast cells. Sodium chromoglycate, ketotifen, beclomethasone dipropionate, budesonide. So budesonide, beclomethasone both are steroid category, and sodium chromoglycate is the answer that can stabilize the mast cells as well as having the sorry ketotifen. Ketotifen is having antihistaminic property as well as can stabilize the mast cells. Can stabilize the mast cells. Next, ketotifen selectively block H1 receptors, prevents the typical symptoms caused by histamine release. So, because of release of histamine also, there is a chance of asthma. This agent also inhibits release of inflammatory mediators from the mast cells, also macrophages, eosinophils, lymphocytes, neutrophils, which involves in hypersensitive reaction, the allergic reaction. So increased allergic reactions in the lungs may also produce allergic asthma. The ketotifen orally effective but has slow onset of action. Takes some time to produce action. Adverse effect like sedation, dry mouth are common. Dizziness, nausea, weight gain also one of the problem with ketotifen. Ketotifen it is a blocks H1 receptors. So the next question. Regarding next question, an opioid which has an antitussive cuff center suppressant. So that is opioid derivative and it can directly suppress the cuff center. Dextromethorphan, oxycodone, codeine, narcotin. So the answer will be the codeine. Codeine phosphate, codeine in the form of phosphate used as an antitussive. That codeine directly suppress the cuff center in the CNS and decrease dry cough in the periphery. Yes, again here antitussives. So antitussives, opioids, non-opioids, antihistamines, pulmonary receptors desensitize useful. So pulmonary receptor desensitizer as a antitussive suppress the cough center in the CNS is prenoxidazine. Prenoxidazine is a pulmonary receptor desensitizer. Antihistamine like chlorpheniramine, diphenhydramine, promethazine. Non-opioid like noscapine, dextromethorphan, chloram, sorry, clofedianol, and opioids like codeine, ethylmorphine, and falcodeine. Next, so continuation. Which of the following is a long-acting beta-2 selective agonist? Which of the following is a long-acting beta selective agonist? Formoterol, isoprenaline, salbutamol, ephedrine. So ephedrine is a mixed acting drug. Isoprenaline is mainly selective on the beta receptors like beta 1, less action on beta 2. And formoterol, salbutamol are long acting beta 2 receptors agonist. Answer will be the C, that is, sorry, answer will be the formoterol, a long acting beta 2 selective, beta 2 receptor selective agonist. Next, the explanation. So let's see the explanation. You will get more clarity. Long acting beta 2 agonist LABA. Long acting beta 2 agonist LABA. Salmeterol, formoterol. So long acting salmeterol, formoterol. LASF. LASF. L means long, A means acting, S means salmeterol, F means formoterol. And short acting SATS, SATS. So short acting SATS, short acting 3 to 4 hours, terbinafine, salbutamol, short salbutamol, long salmeterol, formoterol. Okay, so unlike salmeterol, formoterol has rapid onset of action. Okay, related to this paragraph. Next, so omalizumab. Omalizumab is administered in bronchial asthma by which route? Oral route, subcutaneous, intravenous, aerosol. So omalizumab is a monoclonal antibody and it is administered by using the subcutaneous route of administration. So subcutaneous route also one of the parental route of administration. So let's see the discussion of this omalizumab, an IgE antibody drug. Oppose the action of IgE antibody. It is a humanized monoclonal antibody against IgE and it is administered by subcutaneous route. Omalizumab prevents binding of immunoglobulin E to mast cell, thus prevents mast cell from the degranulation. So prevents mast cell from degranulation. If mast cells degranulation, more histamine released, more histamine increase the allergic reaction. It may also produce allergic induced asthma. And regarding mechanism of action, the omalizumab, what omalizumab will do? Regarding mechanism, omalizumab will do neutralizes free IgE in circulation without activating mast cells and other inflammatory cells, and it is used in moderate to severe asthma and allergic disorders like nasal allergy as well as food allergy. So it decrease neutralize high circulation of IgE antibody. It is used in moderate to severe asthma and allergic disorders like nasal allergy, food allergy. Okay, so this is the features of our pharmacist coaching, including all types of pharmacist exams, because most of the pharmacist, any type of pharmacist exam like RRB, central government health scheme, statewide level pharmacist exams, mostly the syllabus will be the same. And yes, they commonly having pharmacy syllabus as well as non-pharma syllabus, and these are the features of our online program. So 200 plus live class you will get, and 500 plus recorded video lectures you will get, 400 plus online test series, 100 plus previous year MCQs, and e-notes you will get, and at the cost of 2,999. If you want books also, like hard copy materials, theory fingertips book as well as objective fingertips book, and definitely this course will help you to crack your competitive goals, because the competition is very very higher. For details to enroll in course, so call to me. So this is my number 799 531 8103. So myself Ashok Kumar, I am the coordinator of GDC English classes. Okay, and next question is the which of the following is a adjuvant antitussive? Salbutamol, a beta 2 receptor agonist, bromhexin, dextropropoxyphene, dextromethorphan. So among the list of drugs, the following adjuvant, the supportive antitussive is salbutamol. Salbutamol is a beta 2 receptor agonist, and salbutamol is a adjuvant antitussive. Suppress the cough by inhibiting the cough center. Generally, antitussive means suppress the cough. So here the adjuvant bronchodilators like salbutamol as well as terbutaline. These are selective beta 2 receptor agonist. These are as a supportive agents for the antitussives like codeine. So next question. Wait a moment. Which of the following is directly acting cough suppressant like dextromethorphan, bromhexin, acetylcysteine, carbapenem? Carbapenem. So answer is the dextromethorphan. Dextromethorphan is answer, a directly acting cough suppressant. Dextromethorphan. So let's see. Dextromethorphan effective antitussive for treatment of uncomplicated non-productive cough. Uncomplicated non-productive cough. It is widely available as a over-the-counter cough as well as cold remedy, cold medication. Dextromethorphan as well as falcodine are synthetic opioid derivatives with antitussive action like codeine, but having less side effects, do not cause constipation, and have no addiction liability, but can cause nausea as well as drowsiness. So dextromethorphan action similar to codeine but having less side effects, and even dextromethorphan does not cause constipation, does not decrease gastric movements, does not cause constipation like morphine as well as codeine. Next, which of the following anti-asthmatic drug causes Crook-Strauss syndrome? Aminophylline, A. Xanthanalclide, Montelukast, salbutamol, beta 2 receptor agonist, Zileuton. So, which of the following drug can cause Crook-Strauss syndrome? The answer is the Montelukast as well as other drug Jafirlikast. These are cysteine leukotriene receptor antagonist. Cysteine leukotriene receptor antagonist. So the explanation of Crook-Strauss syndrome is, it is a disorder marked by inflammation of the blood vessel. So it is the disorder marked by the inflammation of a blood vessel. This inflammation can restrict blood flow to organs, tissues, sometimes permanently damaging them. This condition, also known as eosinophilic granulomatosis with polygangitis. Polygangitis. Drugs that can cause Crook-Strauss syndrome is Jafirlukast, Montelukast, Pranlukast. All are anti-asthmatic drugs. So simply it is a disorder marked by inflammation of the blood vessels. So which one of the following is known as soft steroid? Which one of the following is known as soft steroid? So fluticasone, budesonide, cyclisonide, flunisolide. So the answer is cyclisonide. So let's see the discussion. What is the reason behind this soft steroid and what is a soft steroid? Soft steroid may be defined as an active entity or prodrug. It is an active entity or prodrug which is delivered close to its site of action in order to exert its therapeutic effect thus reducing systemic exposure and likelihood of unwanted side effects. So because of this, this drug is administered close to the site of action. Because of close to site of action, because of close to site of action, so the therapeutic effect is more and unwanted effects are less, non-beneficial effects are less. So these are the list of soft steroids like cyclosonide, lotepredonol, fluorometholone, etipredonol. So like this list of drugs are there. These are known as soft steroids. Next, salbutamol is a, so as you know already, so salbutamol is a bronchodilator. It directly dilates the bronchial smooth muscle. It is not a mast cell stabilizer. It is not a immunosuppressant like steroid. It is not a antitussive like codeine. So salbutamol is simply a bronchodilator. So there are three categories of bronchodilators. Drugs like salbutamol directly agonize the beta 2 receptors. Drugs like salbutamol directly agonize the beta 2 receptors. And drugs like methylxanthines inhibit phosphodiesterase enzyme, increase the cyclic AMP levels. That increased cyclic AMP on bronchial smooth muscle causes dilation of bronchial smooth muscle. Anticholinergic like ipratropium, tiotropium. These drugs selectively block M3 receptors, type 3 muscarinic receptors on lung bronchial smooth muscle, causes relaxation. Next, the drug of choice for the drug of choice for prophylaxis of aspirin-induced asthma: salbutamol, ipratropium, corticosteroids, jafirulic acid. So here it is, prophylaxis of aspirin-induced asthma. Aspirin is sensitive to some patients. It may develop allergic reaction. It may develop allergic-induced asthma. So that allergic-induced asthma can be controlled by corticosteroids. Corticosteroids can control antigen-antibody reactions in the allergic reactions, especially allergic-induced asthma. The answer is corticosteroids because steroids are having immunosuppressant activity. So here the table is indicating the drug of choice for different type of asthma, like bronchial asthma, acute attack, treatment of acute attack of asthma by salbutamol, acute attack in pregnancy, acute attack of asthma in pregnancy treated by salbutamol, acute attack during delivery, so attacking of asthma during delivery process, that is parturition, drug of choice ipratropium. Acute attack in patient with beta blocker therapy, ipratropium. And prophylaxis, for the prophylaxis purpose, pre-protection, corticosteroids. And exercise induced asthma, so during exercise, during physical activity there is a chance of asthma, so that acute attack can be controlled by salbutamol. For the prophylaxis, corticosteroids. And aspirin induced asthma, acute attack can be controlled by salbutamol. And prophylaxis of aspirin induced asthma treatment by corticosteroids. So corticosteroids are having immunosuppressant action. Next, so which of the following is not an adverse effect of salbutamol? So tachycardia, tolerance, hypokalemia, hypoglycemia. So salbutamol may also increase the heartbeat, may produce tolerance, decreasing drug response, hypokalemia, decreased potassium levels in blood, hypoglycemia. Hypoglycemia is not a adverse effect of salbutamol because salbutamol is a sympathomimetic. Sympathomimetics increase the glucose production. They may cause hyperglycemia but not hypoglycemia. So all of the following are adverse effect of salbutamol. Exception is hypoglycemia. So let's see the discussion. Beta receptor agonist like salbutamol, terbutaline can cause several adverse effects. Tachycardia due to stimulation of chronotropic beta 2 receptors at high dose due to stimulation of beta 1 receptors also. So stimulation of chronotropic, that is chrono means increasing sound, and especially at high dose this beta 2 receptor agonist may stimulate beta 1 receptor and increase heart rate, tachycardia. Tremors may result due to stimulation of muscle spindles. Tremors. Tremors may be means like a shivering because of stimulation of muscle spindles under control of beta 2 receptor. Tolerance may develop due to desensitization of receptor. Continuous usage of salbutamol may develop desensitization of receptors. And transient hyperkalemia followed by prolonged hypokalemia. And hyperglycemia may develop due to release of glucagon and stimulation of glycosenolysis, breakdown of glycogen to glucose, and gluconeogenesis, production of glucose from non-carbohydrate sources. So beta 2 receptor agonist stimulants produce hyperglycemia, not hypoglycemia. Next, the drug not used in treatment of acute asthma. The drug not used in treatment of acute asthma: salbutamol, ipratropium, montelukast, hydrocortisone. The answer is montelukast. So montelukast chemically cysteine leukotriene receptor antagonist. It is not a drug of choice for treatment of acute asthma. So, treatment of acute severe asthma, also known as status asthmaticus. Treatment of acute severe asthma, nothing but also known as status asthmaticus. So, here the treatment starts with humidified oxygen inhalation. First, we have to give sufficient oxygen. Next, nebulized beta 2 adrenergic agonist like salbutamol, terbutaline plus anticholinergic ipratropium plus anticholinergic ipratropium. So nebulized in the form of nebulizer beta 2 receptor agonist salbutamol as well as terbutaline, and along with salbutamol or terbutaline, anticholinergic M3 receptor blocker ipratropium, and systemic glucocorticoids like IV hydrocortisone or oral prednisolone, and potassium supplements to correct hypokalemia. So to correct hypokalemia, potassium supplement should be used. And next, sodium bicarbonate to treat acidosis in case of respiratory disease, and antibiotics to treat if is there any infection, if there is any infection. So next, which of the following drug is shortest acting inhaled bronchodilator? So, which of the following is shortest acting inhaled bronchodilator? Option: ipratropium bromide, formoterol, salbutamol, salmeterol. Mostly salbutamol, formoterol are selective beta 2 receptor agonist. They having long duration compared to ipratropium. So the answer is ipratropium bromide. Among this, remaining B, C, D options are selective beta 2 receptor agonist. Coming to ipratropium, selective M3 receptor blocker, block the muscarinic type 3 receptors. Yes, the answer is ipratropium bromide. Yes, ipratropium bromide having short duration 4 to 6 hours. Okay, short to duration, that is 4 to 6 hours. And when coming to the salbutamol having, wait a minute. Yes, here short acting, that is duration 4 to 6 hours. Duration 4 to 6 hours. Next, ipratropium bromide used in bronchial asthma is. So here the ipratropium bromide is a drug used in treatment of bronchial asthma, and it is a beta sympathomimetic. No, it is not a beta sympathomimetic, does not cause agonism of beta receptors, and it is not a methylxanthine like theophylline. It is a anticholinergic. It selectively blocks type 3 muscarinic receptors in the lungs, and it is not a mast cell stabilizer. Yes, answer is ipratropium bromide is anticholinergic. It is selectively block type 3 muscarinic receptors in the lungs and causes bronchodilation. So, beta 2 receptors agonism causes bronchodilation. M3 receptors antagonism also causes bronchodilation. Yes, here these are the list of the books you can use for your pharmacist preparation and specially prepared by the GDC management experienced faculty. Okay, so here these are the two books now are ordering by the many students who are preparing for their pharmacist exams like RRB, central government health scheme, or any other types pharmacist also. And one of the book is fingertips theory book, and one of the book is fingertips objective with explanation. So here this is my contact number 7995318103. So you can contact me on for GDC classes in English language, especially if you are from the South India region. So you can get coaching of GPAT, pharmacist, drug inspector, NIPER also. Okay. And next, the loading dose of aminophylline. So like these questions are very rare in the competitive examinations also. The loading dose of aminophylline is, yes, like these questions you can directly go for the answer is 5 to 6 mg per kg body weight. So here aminophylline is a derivative of theophylline, a phosphodiesterase enzyme inhibitor causes bronchodilation. The loading dose is an initial high dose of drug that may be given at the beginning of a course of treatment before dropping down to a lower maintenance dose. So it is an initial high dose of a drug that may be given at beginning of a course of treatment before dropping down to lower maintenance dose. And aminophylline administered in dose of 5 to 6 mg per kg slow IV infusion. In children, the dose required is 7.5 mg per kg. Especially like these drugs used in case of newly born babies. In newly born babies, there is a problem in the respiration. To correct that problem, like these drugs are used to produce bronchodilation. Especially these drugs are xanthan alkaloids, theophylline, its derivative aminophylline. Next, which of the following drug used as a methylxanthin for treatment of asthma? So, which of the following drug used as a methylxanthin for treatment of asthma? So, by seeing options, you can tell theophylline, terbinafine, tiotropium, salmeterol. So, here as a methylxanthin is theophylline, theobromine, caffeine. Yes, answer is the theophylline. Theophylline is a methylxanthins xanthan alkaloid. So methylxanthin, theophylline, aminophylline, they inhibit the phosphodiesterase enzyme, increase cyclic adenosine monophosphate levels in the lungs and causes bronchodilation. So increased levels of cyclic adenosine monophosphate on lungs causes inactivation of MLCK, myosin light chain kinase enzyme, and causes bronchodilation. Inflammation in the airways can be reduced by inflammation in the airways, fluticasone, a corticosteroid, theophylline, a xanthan alkaloid, a bronchodilator, salbutamol, beta 2 receptor agonist, a bronchodilator, ipratropium, M3 receptor blocker, a bronchodilator. So here, in case of inflammation of the airways, the asthma interlinked with inflammation, steroids are useful because steroids are potent anti-inflammatory compounds. They suppress the involvement of inflammatory mediator. They suppress the antigen antibody reactions. Yes, 100% steroid fluticasone. Yes, see the explanation in detail. Inflammation in the airways can be reduced by fluticasone, which is corticosteroid that suppress inflammation in airways and also suppress overactive, excess active immune system. Theophylline is a bronchodilator, relax the muscles in airways, improves breathing. Salbutamol, ipratropium, also bronchodilators, helps to relax and widen the airways for proper breathing. So regarding inflammation, if the asthma is interlinked with severe inflammation and 100% it is related to the nothing but it is treated by corticosteroids. Advantage of formoterol over salmeterol. It can be used for prophylaxis in asthmatics. It has got a fast onset of action. It has short acting beta 2 receptor agonist. It also has beta 1 agonistic action. It also has beta 1 agonistic action. So it does not having any beta 1 receptor action. Okay. So let's see the discussion on answer. It has got a fast onset of action, shows action immediately. What is onset of action? how much time how much time the drug is taking to produce its action. For example, fast onset of action shows action immediately. The advantage of formoterol over salmeterol is formoterol is having forward fast onset of action. Formoterol over salmeterol. So, formoterol, salmeterol are two long-acting beta-2 agonists. Long-acting, LAFS, LAFS. Long-acting formoterol, salmeterol, beta-2 receptor agonist given by inhalation with bronchodilating effect lasts around 12 hours after single administration. Formoterol has fast onset of action than the salmeterol. Formoterol, forward, fast onset of action. Next, inhibition of lipoxygenase useful in. So lipoxygenase is one of the enzyme involves in the production of mediators develop asthma. So 5-lipoxygenase is one of the enzyme. It is helps in the treatment of cardiac failure, bronchial asthma, hepatic failure, arthritis, inflammation of joints, and the answer will be the bronchial asthma. Inhibition of 5-lipoxygenase enzyme helps in treatment of bronchial asthma. So let's see Gileuton. Gileuton is the only 5-lipoxygenase inhibitor marketed as a treatment for asthma, often utilized as a selective tool to evaluate 5-lipoxygenase and leukotrienes. Leukotrienes. So 5-lipoxygenase inhibitors helps in the treatment of COPD, allergic rhinitis, as well as asthma. So Gileuton inhibit the 5-lipoxygenase enzyme. 5-lipoxygenase enzyme involved in the synthesis of leukotrienes. So leukotrienes may also develop inflammatory mediated asthma. So Gileuton inhibit 5-lipoxygenase helps in the treatment of COPD, allergic rhinitis as well as asthma. So like this interesting videos on MCQs with explanation, especially if you're preparing for pharmacist examination, this Tejas series will help you. And we are also providing a live classes up to 5 months because the competition is very higher. So take coaching, definitely it will help you. So please take 1 year. So in that 1 year definitely you will get number of notification. In this notification you will get any notification, and most of the pharmacists definitely will get monthly 50,000 salary with many number of benefits. First, be serious, crack the any pharmacist throughout year your preparation, and then you can enjoy the all benefits. So for live classes I already gave my number regarding if you want to enroll in our course of GDC pharmacist, especially if you are from south region, you can get classes in English language also. I hope you do know the quality as well as strength of the GDC, the classes as well as materials. Yes. And for any details you can contact me here by using 799 531 8103. I am the coordinator of GDC English classes South region. So like these interesting videos, and if you are looking for GPAT, NIPER, pharmacist and DI coaching, subscribe to GDC English classes. Thank you, and share with your friends also.